I think it'd be honest to say to be, equal in both aspects of the game, to have it to where both teams have a shot. They have a shot. Now, if you see New England, they score, say they score 3 points, and then that gives a shot for New England or for Atlanta to come down, score 7, game over. In this sense,
and that's in the books now. But if the touchdown goes and you have another chance at a touchdown, I don't know if that's really. I don't believe they're going to visit this because it's just so rare that it happens. Atlanta should have, in my opinion, made some different decisions along the way, especially with regards to holding on to that ball, playing keep away for a little bit, and really it ended up being such a lopsided time of possession in the other direction.
I see giving Atlanta another opportunity to score. But I think, again, we're talking about pro football. We're not talking college, so they're two different. But I think the thing is with the NFL, it is a time of where they don't have the time to have 3 overtimes. I just don't think that's in the works for the NFL. Now, don't get me wrong. It creates good ratings. People are watching, revenue,
sure.
of course, from a business standpoint. But again, in the college game, I could see that more so versus than the pro football. Either way, you're talking about a team that was able to have an opportunity.
Well, it shouldn't have even come down to that.
Atlanta
was dominating for 3 quarters. It was just an absolute dominating performance for 3 quarters.
Right.
But again, that fourth quarter, the defense just didn't have enough in the tank. And when you're talking about the majority of that time being spent on the field, and unless you have just another set of defensive players to come out there and take
on a rotation, maybe
more of
kind of like a
rotation,
hockey rotation, fresh,
and then making
energy.
some better decisions towards the end of the game, where you're
Right.
kind of holding on to that ball, whether that's through a running game or maybe some quick passes. I know that again they're going to look at that and they're going to say, maybe being aggressive, you're going to try to win that game, and if they would have played a little bit more conservative and they lost the game, then people would be faulting them for being too conservative. So you can second guess the coaching, you can second guess all of that. Again, the experience of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, that is the biggest factor in all of this, in my opinion. Now, Dan Quinn, great head coach. He's a young head coach. I think he's going to have other opportunities. I'm sure he will. But you're going up against, maybe we called him the mad genius, this Bill Belichick phenomenon, where he's now the winningest Super Bowl coach in history. And to me, you just had too many things going against you for you not to jump on, and it's just you don't have enough points. 28 points was not enough through 3 quarters. You needed something else, and whether that was time of possession, which I think was the biggest factor in this game, was time of possession, and Tom Brady, the Tom Brady factor.
Well, and you also have those magical moments when we speak about Edelman, the catch. I would say
probably
bar none, the biggest catch to me and one of the most historic catches in NFL history.
Yeah, don't make that catch, game is probably over.
And the reason I say that is because you're talking about inches that this ball touches the ground. He's able to cradle that. Not only the ball is in a situation where the defensive player can swipe at the ball to knock it out of his hands.
Well, he was almost in position to intercept that ball. It was
right.
He had 3 guys on him. I think. It was just
looking at it in slow motion. You see,
it was unbelievable.
Right.
That he got that. It was unbelievable.
They could not call that a reception right off the bat. They had to actually look at replay to understand. And that ref came in. Remember, that ref came in and was like this. And it said, this guy actually caught the ball. Yeah. He actually caught the ball. And so we see what concentration Edelman had. Now, that's one play. There's also another play in Martellus Bennett. A pass that hits a defender together and just lands in Martellus Bennett's hands, and he's able to get some yards after the catch. So these plays are momentum plays.
There's some lucky plays. You say they're lucky and miraculous. You don't have any real good explanation as to why certain things happen. But people say that you really make your own luck. Your preparation, your dedication,
focus,
the hours spent studying, and Tom Brady may be the one of the most just focused, studious quarterbacks. He's just going to to know everything about that defense that could be learned.
Right.
He knows it. He knows, and I guarantee you that he knew he was going to get hit.
Oh, yes.
And he knew he was going to get hit hard. He knew they were going to come for him. And so it was just a matter of him staying true to what he knew.
And when you talk about that, that's when you find the difference between quarterbacks. They stay with what they know. They get hit, there's pressure, there's hits, there's being uncomfortable in the pocket, but they're still able to stick in there and able to let things come to them.
Well, and as I was watching the game at the end of that third quarter and Tom Brady and company started coming back, I happened to mention, because I was looking at that defensive line and they were just coming off of the block so slowly, and they just looked tired. I said, you know what? I think Tom Brady smells blood here, because they were tired. You could tell. If I could tell that they were tired, and especially on the drive where they had all the holding calls against them, if I can tell that they were tired and it was going to be possible to come back on them, that Tom Brady knew that. And that Bill Belichick knew that, and the rest of that team knew it. They were running so fast. You see Edelman was still running super, super fast.
Hard routes, ran well. Really good.
Hard. And the defensive backs just having a hard time catching up to them. And when they did, it was just enough to have that holding penalty. And it just wasn't enough. I mean, you had just not enough in the tank.
You look at the weapons that New England had at their disposal. No Gronkowski, but you had players that were able to step up and make big plays. And really, that is the difference on a tired defense at Atlanta that we saw.
Well, and again, coaching and experience. It came down to that.
It boils down to that.
I voted with my heart. My head told me go with Tom and company. Well, and it was for those of us who with our heart were rooting for the underdog.
Sure, for a Super Bowl,
for a
if
Super
they
Bowl,
won,
for in a town that has
franchise.
won a championship in the Atlanta Braves, and for the longest, I mean, there's just they were aching for a championship, and to see them fall short. This is why we live for sport. This is why we live for NFL, and why it makes it so interesting, because nobody's ever done what Tom Brady just did. I mean, how many records were set in this game, and the whole New England area. This solidifies Tom Brady
dynasty
and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots as maybe to this point the greatest franchise in the NFL.
And Mike Ditka was one on hand to really say that if they win the Super Bowl, they are the greatest team in NFL history to ever win these Super Bowls.
Well, and if I was Tom Brady, and I know he's still relatively
39 years old.
He's relatively young. Manning kept going.
Sure.
Brett Favre kept going.
And this is a good system too.
Yeah.
This is a plug and play system. So
So
in an aging quarterback,
he could still have 5 or so years left. If he retires now, he's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. He probably will get a unanimous selection.
Right.
And through all that he's been through between Deflategate and some of the earlier controversies with some of the earlier things in his career.
Yeah.
At this point, there is nothing left to prove for Tom Brady. And to me, if you want to consider him the greatest of all time, I'm okay with that. And you just ride off into the sunset. There's nothing else to prove.
There really isn't. And I think the thing is that you look at some of the Peyton Mannings, dealing with the neck surgery. You think about the injuries in the NFL. At any time, any place, an injury can happen. We saw many broken legs within this last NFL season in the playoffs and the regular season games, where it just killed a lot of these teams' momentums.
Well, and Tom himself had an injury that cost him a year.
So you're not guaranteed. If Tom was to come back, and you just say, hey, look, Tom is going to have another full season. You don't know what injuries lie ahead for a quarterback. It's 39. He's going to turn 40. And so the thing is that to me is is looking at your resume, looking at what you've been able to do in the NFL. You sure would Bill Belichick love to have him back? I mean, have another chance to go at it again. If you know, it was funny. Tom had used this. He had mentioned this about how being 39 but playing with younger players makes you feel young again, and that's really for an NFL player. It's a mental standpoint. When you think about a player having to say, for many years, I've had this regimen of workouts, studying film, playing on Sundays, playing on nightly games on Thursday, and Monday Night Football. So you look at all these things that he's been having to do, sacrificing family time, doing this work. This is what he knows. And sometimes for a player to walk away when really you're healthy, he's not hurt. It's not a Peyton Manning here, neck surgery, neck problems. We're talking about a player that really can play more and has a little bit of longevity. But again,
well, and this would be an opportunity, in my opinion, for him to go out on his own terms.
Sure.
Because, I mean, between some of the things that have happened in his career to now, 5 Super Bowl wins, and whether he wins, if he won the next 5 and he has 10 rings, wouldn't make a difference to his longevity and who he is and what he's cemented himself in now as maybe the greatest of all time.
Really, what a game we saw really this weekend. And it's funny, we called the scores. I had 31-24. You had?
I had somewhere around 34-28, somewhere in there.
Right. Talk about
we were both in the high scoring
high-scoring offense versus high-scoring defense. And for a while, it was 0-0. These teams were trying to figure each other out. And so eventually we saw what Atlanta was able to do. We eventually, in the first half and then second half, it's kind of like the Patriots said, we've seen this before. Let's go get this.
Well, and, congratulations to the New England Patriots on their 5th win in Super Bowl history. And, this is the offseason begins now, and maybe those thoughts are going through Tom Brady's head right now. He kind of leaned towards some hinting that he's at least tired, and he got hit hard, and it might be the next couple of months, but we don't know because again that desire.
When fall camp comes, it's a whole nother thing. Those wounds that you once felt tired.
Favre, I'm retired. I'm not retired.
Right.
I'm retired. I'm not retired.
And those wounds you say, I'm hurt. I'm tired. Somehow you wait about 4 or 5 months. Those feel a little bit better.
So we'll see what happens with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. But for now, the NFL season is over.
To the close. It's been an exciting one.
And now we begin the offseason, and the F.A.T.T. show begins the offseason.
Yes.
So we got a lot of work to do, a lot of research to do, and a lot of Duck spring games coming up.
Sure.
So we got a lot to
recruiting news,
recruiting stuff coming up. A lot of things to go over. But for now, I'm D.
I'm Kevin.
And this has been the F.A.T.T. Show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.